Okay, today we are going to start chapter number 7, in which we will study different small signal models of amplifiers. But before that, we will study some basic concepts related to small signal models. So first of all, what is the purpose of bias? Why we set a cue point or operating point in BJT amplifiers? A cue point or operating point is basically a voltage and current value in the middle of all possible values of voltage and currents, so that the AC signal can be superimposed on that value, DC value, without any distortion or clipping. So this bias point is basically the value at which the transistor operates even when there is no AC input value. So the output is basically the combination of bias point voltage and the AC signal. VB is bias point voltage and this is AC signal, and A is the peak value of AC voltage. So in this figure you can see for an input and output of an amplifier, this is the graph for output of this amplifier, in which VB is the bias voltage level for this output, on which this output voltage is superimposed. The output voltage maximum and minimum values are VB plus A and VB minus A. VB plus peak value of AC and VB minus peak value of AC. The maximum limit for output is saturation voltage, and minimum level for output voltage is cutoff voltage. So this output value cannot be greater than saturation voltage and it cannot be less than cutoff voltage, otherwise there will be clipping at the output. So when this bias point level is closer to saturation level, this cue point or bias point voltage is closer to saturation level on the upward side, then you can see that there will be positive clipping in the output. This is also a form of distortion which the amplifier will experience. Similarly, when this bias point level is closer to this cutoff level, V minimum is basically the cutoff voltage. So when the bias point level is closer to the cutoff voltage, there will be negative clipping the output side. Also, when you keep the input voltage too high, after multiplication with the gain of this amplifier, the output will be very large. It will be larger than the value of maximum and minimum limits. So there will be clipping on both sides, positive and negative side, because the peak values are greater than, the positive peak is greater than saturation, negative is less than the cutoff voltage. So in this case, positive and negative clipping will occur when the amplitude of the signal is too large and the transistor is said to be overdriven. So why we use coupling capacitors at the input and output side of the amplifiers? The purpose of the capacitor here is to block DC voltage from amplifier to source and from amplifier to load. As you can see, when Vs passes through this capacitor, due to this amplifier the DC level is added. After amplification, this is the output, and after the DC blockage by this capacitor, the output is at 0 level, but it is the amplified version of the input signal. So basically, Here the purpose of these coupling capacitors is to block DC from amplifier to source and from amplifier to load. For example, we in some load cases we do not need the DC voltage. Here suppose you have a loudspeaker as a load which works only on AC input levels, so you do not need the DC voltage level, so this capacitor can block DC in this case. So next is analysis of a typical common emitter amplifier in which the output is VBE and IB. So as the VBE changes, suppose there is a small variation in the value of VBE, then the IB will also change accordingly. There will be small variation in IB too. Remember that these two variations should be linearly proportional in order for the amplifier to work without distortion at the output. So as VBE changes, IB changes, and as IB changes, there is also a small variation in IC because IC is beta times IB. So when IC changes, there is also a small variation in VCE. As IB increases, IC also increases, but VCE decreases because VCE is equal to VCC minus IC RC. So in this case, the current gain will be equal to change in output current, which is IC in this case, divided by change in input current, which is IB in this case. Also the voltage gain is equal to change in output voltage divided by change in input voltage. The input resistance measured at the input terminal will be change in input voltage divided by change in input current. So all these changes must be linearly proportional in order for the transistor to work without distortion. Next is the typical fixed bias circuit, which we have already studied. This circuit is less stable as IB varies significantly with the value of beta. With the changes in beta, the IB also varies, and thus the value of IC and VC also varies. But for a good stable circuit, the variation in beta does not causes much variation in the value of IB and IC. So instead of using this fixed bias circuit, we will use this bias stabilized common emitter amplifier, in which there is a voltage divider bias circuit and there is an emitter resistance on the output side in series with the emitter. So the addition of this voltage divider bias circuit and the emitter resistance makes the circuit more stable. First we will study the design of this circuit, and then we will study how, and we will learn how the addition of these resistances and I makes the circuit more stable. So in this we will use a Thevenin equivalent model at the input side. The Thevenin voltage is basically the voltage across R2. You can also call it as VB. V Thevenin is equal to VB, which is basically the voltage across R2. Using voltage divider rule, V Thevenin is equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into VCC. RB is the Thevenin resistance, which is equal to parallel combination of R1 and R2. So using this loop, minus V Thevenin plus IB RB plus VBE plus IE RE is equal to 0. From this you can find the value of V Thevenin. Also I is equal to beta plus 1 times IB. By you can put the value of IE in this equation, and from this you can find the value of IB by taking IB common. IB is equal to V Thevenin minus VB divided by RB plus beta plus 1 times into RE. So IE is basically beta plus 1 times IB. You can multiply beta plus 1 on both sides, and this will be equal to IE is equal to, when you multiply beta plus 1 and take here beta plus 1 common, beta plus 1 will cancel out, and you will simply have IE V Thevenin minus VBE divided by RE plus RB divided by beta plus 1. Also IC is approximately equal to IE, and IC is beta times IB. So from this equation you can find the value of IC, which is approximately equal to V Thevenin minus VBA divided by RE plus RB divided by beta. From this you can find the value of IC maximum, which is proportional to beta maximum. IC minimum proportional to beta minimum. From this equation, V Thevenin minus VB is equal to IC maximum multiplied by RE plus RB divided by beta maximum. Similarly, from IC minimum equation, you can also find the value of V Thevenin minus VBE. Now you can equate these both sides, both equations, equation number 1 and 2. So this will be equal to this form, and from this you can find the ratio RB over RE. From V Thevenin, which is equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into VCC, multiplied by R1 on both sides. So R1 will be equal to RB divided by, this is basically the parallel combination of R1 and R2, and it is equal to RB. So from this equation you can find the value of R1, which is RB divided by V Thevenin into VCC. Also RB is parallel combination of R1 and R2. From this you can find the value of R2. So from these equations you can design the bistabilized common emitter amplifier, which we'll do in this example, in which we have to design the circuit. The values given are VCC is 18 volt, ICQ is 2 milliampere plus minus 3%. The Q point value of VC is 7 volt. Beta range is 80 to 200. This is beta minimum. This is beta maximum. So first of all, we will design the value of RE. The value of RE can be designed by dividing voltage across it divided by IE. So the voltage across RE can be found with the rule of thumb, which is that VRE is supposed to be 10% of VCC. This is a good rule of thumb, and we will follow it, that VRE is 10% of VCC. So RE will be equal to VRE divided by IE. VRE is 10% of VCC is 1.8 volt. 1.8 divided by 2 is 900, and the standard value, which the nearby standard value is 910 ohms. So output loop equation is VCC minus ICRC minus VCEQ minus IERE. From this output loop equation you can find the value of RC, because the value of IC is already known. So the value of RC will be equal to 9.2 volt divided by 2 milliamperes. Next is we will find the value of IC maximum, which is ICQ plus 3%, and 0.06 milliampere. IC minimum, ICQ minus 3%, 2 milliamperes minus this value, 1.94 milliamperes, and from this values we can find the value of RB. RB is equal to RB or IE is equal to this expression, and we will put these values. From this we can find the value of RB, which is 7.8 kilo ohms. And from the value of RB we can find the value of R1 and R2. But first we have to find the value of V Thevenin. From this expression you can also find the value of V Thevenin from IC minimum expression. So from this the value of V Thevenin is 2.66 volt. So we will put the value of V Thevenin here. R1 is equal to VCC divided by V Thevenin multiplied by RB, which is equal to 53 kilo ohms. R1 is 53, and from this equation parallel combination of R1 and R2, and as RB and R1 is known, we can find the value of R2, which is equal to 9.2 kilo ohms. So now we have found the values, all the resistance values for bistabilized circuit, the value of R1, R2, RC and RE. So after designing the bistabilized circuit, we will see that how it actually works, how it keeps the value of IC and IB constant. So as you know that the value of VB is basically the voltage across R2, and it is equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into VCC. So as far as the value of VCC R2 R1 is constant, the value of VB will be constant, and so is the value of IB and IC. Also from this loop you can see that minus VB plus VBE plus IE/RE is equal to 0, and VB is equal to VBE plus IE/RE. So basically the value of VB also depends the value of base to emitter voltage and the voltage drop across emitter resistance. Suppose beta increases, IC also increases, and I will also increase. As I increases, the voltage drop across RE will also increase, and as this voltage drop will increase, VB will tend to increase. But you know that VB is constant from this equation. So as VB is constant, VBE will decrease slightly to keep VB constant, and as VB will remain constant, so does the value of IB and IC. So due to change in beta, there will be only small variation in the value of IB and IC. This is the same case when beta decreases. The same process will be followed, and also when the value of VCC or the value of R1 or R2 changes, the value of VBE almost remains constant. So this circuit is much stable as compared to fixed bias circuit due to addition of R1, R2 and RE. So what is the purpose of bypass capacitor in parallel with RE? So when we add RE in series with emitter, this emitter resistance basically reduces the voltage gain in case of AC input. So in order for the gain to be maximum in case of AC, we will connect a capacitor in parallel with RE. The capacitor acts as short circuit for AC input. For AC, if the frequency is high, XC will be much smaller and the capacitor will act as short circuit. So it will be like there is no emitter resistance for AC input, and for this case the gain will be maximum, but the circuit will be less stable. Second is the case if you want your circuit to be stable and also you want to control the gain of the amplifier, then you can divide the value of Re into two portions, Re1 and Re2. A capacitor is connected in parallel with one of Re portions. In this case we have connected in parallel with Re2. So when the AC is applied, this Re2 is bypassed, but the circuit remains stable due to Re1, and also you can control the AC gain with the help of Re1. And when the DC is applied, only DC is applied, there is no AC, then the circuit will be stable due to the value of Re. So this is all for today and for this week. You can solve the examples related to bistabilized circuit from your exercise. You can solve the questions.